And let's talk about some common myths and misconceptions when it comes to this technology.
I'll get comfortable, yes.
Yeah. It's a hot topic for me as well. I think all industries, including supplements, biohacking tech, there's a lot of cowboys out there. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of things to sift through. So we see like these lamps and that sort of thing when it comes to infrared. Some of them, they've been tested and they just turn out to be heat lamps. What should we be looking for when it comes to looking for a good infrared system? Or avoiding, should I say?
I think that you need to be, very careful, as you say, that there's a lot of noise out there. And I think as the topic of infrared sauna has become bigger, there are more people out there producing goods that are, I don't even want to say recreational, but they don't produce many results. So I think that firstly so your question was, what do they need to look out for?
Kind of what to avoid, yeah.
What to avoid, yeah.
What should people be avoiding when they're looking for infrared products?
Well, I think you need to be, the first thing is, does the company actually have options that would suit you, or is it a one size fits all? I think that is a red flag. I think any company that you buy from should take some time to understand what it is that you're looking to achieve and how they can best provide that. Because, not all infrared is created equal, for sure. And I think also the quality. So when you buy an infrared sauna, you're really looking at two things. You're looking at the quality of the heaters and its ability to deliver enough infrared. And that is not a generic term, not infrared in total, or I think it's full spectrum is spoken about a lot, which just means often one actual heater delivering multiple wavelengths, which is not really effective at delivering any one wavelength very well. So, I think that the company needs to be able to show how they deliver it, what's right for you, be able to show how effective their heaters are. And then the other thing is obviously safety. With an infrared sauna is an electric sauna. So electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs, ELFs is quite important to make sure that they're ultra low. But I think it's multifaceted. So you asked me, what at the beginning, what one thing do people need to look out for? And I think it's where companies or individuals focus on one USP of the company or of the infrared sauna at the expense of everything else. Mm-hmm. There's lots of different things that people need to be aware of. So it's the effectiveness of the heaters, the safety, and then making sure in totality that this is the right thing to meet your goals.
Mm-hmm. And we see a lot of white labeling in the industry. So, and what I mean by that is you can go on Alibaba, AliExpress, madeinchina.com, and you can find these products and you can send your logo and hey presto, you've got a product. And for me, keep an eye on these companies that one day they have a PEMF mat, the next day they have a sauna, the next day they have it, and they keep releasing these products. For me, there's no development going into these, but we see quite commonly these sauna blankets, quite cheap versions of these sauna blankets. What are your thoughts on them? And if you're sweating, if you're getting some response from it, is that all you need?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say something quite controversial. I think it's not. They're quite frankly unsafe, and oftentimes at a very low price point. Unfortunately, we're not at the point where we can achieve a very low price point, £100, £200 infrared sauna blanket that's effective and safe. So, look, there are better ways to activate heat shock proteins if you can't afford a sauna, like having literally a hot bath, or let's just get out there in the sun. But the blankets that are really cheap are number one. If you were to strip back the blanket and look at it, it's nothing more than a hot blanket that you put on your bed. It is not true infrared. It's not delivering enough infrared for it to be anywhere near effective for you. And then it's made of materials often. We often find PVCs and plastics and toxic materials being used. that are causing off-gassing or that you're absorbing into your skin. So you end up with more problems than you potentially started with.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I think it's nice to maybe play around with it and see if actually you're going to use it for some people, but really it's of no therapeutic use. And in some cases I would avoid because they could be unsafe.
Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned that because we see in a lot of PEMF devices now introducing far infrared and that sort of thing, or near infrared. And it's, again, a lot of the ones we've tested, it's just heating coils or heating copper.
Correct.
It's producing heat, but that's not what we're trying to achieve when it comes to far infrared. So again, yeah.
Well, yeah, you can get heaters from B&Q that heat which heat outdoor restaurants are technically infrared, but these are not enough therapeutic infrared to be effective at all. So you're right, it's just heat for heat's sake.
Yeah. And you can go into Costco now. You can go on Amazon. You can buy a sauna that looks like a sunlight and sauna. Why shouldn't somebody do that?
Well, I think that you're wasting your money, even though it may be cheaper. It's kind of, not effective. I think you say that they look the same. I would argue that if you put the two products side by side, you would be able to see immediately like a huge difference. From the wood quality to even the weight. I mean, we see some of these where our standard sauna weighs about 400 kilos. Some of these saunas weigh about 100. So if you imagine, the thickness of wood or how much care is put into, the build quality, it's completely different. Again, it's using heaters that you could buy from B&Q essentially in some of these Costco potentially made saunas. So they're not really doing anything for your body. And secondly, they're definitely going to have high levels of EMF. They're going to have high levels of toxins. So they're going to have, the wood will be treated with chemicals. And then heaven forbid you try to move the sauna because it's all used, it's all put together with nails. It will completely fall apart. So, and with time, sauna makes wood expand and contract over time and over usage. And so what we see is with poorer quality saunas is that can cause warping or cracking in the wood. So they don't tend to last either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we hear about the adhesives being used as well, and a term called off-gassing.
Yep.
What's that, and why don't people want any off-gassing in an enclosed space?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a topic that comes up with infrared specifically because the way that how we talked about the way that infrared heats. So it's because it heats organic matter and it's absorbed into the wood and any other material. It can cause off-gassing, and so in our household, in our environment, there are lots of toxins used in the building process. We take a lot of care at Sunlight, and we have actually testing by a company called Chemical Dynamics, which show that actually the air quality inside the sauna in a lot of cases is safer than outside the sauna. But the materials used inside need to be non-toxic. Otherwise, you're applying infrared heat. That infrared heat is allowing the toxins to be released, and you're inhaling them. So it becomes more of an issue and something that needs to be paid attention to, particularly with an infrared sauna. And so a lot of people who are white labeling or not experts in the space don't even know this and will produce a sauna that potentially has off-gassing. Yeah.
And something we see in the PEMF industry quite a lot is devices with many, many different technologies built into them. So we've kind of touched on this already, but we're seeing 6 or 7 sometimes now technologies in PEMF mats, and actually they're selling them PEMF mats for even less than what we sell our brand for. And, we only provide PEMF therapy. So people see on the surface, you've got, okay, well, this device is 3 times the cost, but it only does PEMF. This device is a third of the cost, but it actually has 7 different technologies in it, including gemstones, crystals, and then far infrared and lights and all this sort of thing. Are we seeing this happening in the sauna industry? I know, we stack also red light with ours, but we do it with two different technologies. You're inputting another product into saunas and you have to pay more for that. But are we seeing people ticking many, many, many different therapies in these enclosed cabins now? And is that happening and again, something to avoid, or can it be done correctly?
Yeah, I think that in some cases there's other apparatus which is being sold to put inside a sauna. I think it's what's really important is that people understand that, we pay a lot of attention to the science. So we are not going to introduce something just because it's a fad or whatnot. We are looking at, does the science stack up for this modality to be included? And we are specialists in infrared. There's all kinds of other modalities which people try to include. Some could be counter to the actual the sauna being still safe to use. I mean, we stack chromotherapy because it fits quite nicely. It obviously, I don't know if you know much about chromotherapy, but it's the science of how different colors impact our nervous system and the different chakras in the body. Now, obviously, that is it's a ancient kind of tradition. We didn't invent chromotherapy, but we use that within the sauna because it enhances the experience, and it works very, very well. There are loads of other things, but I think that they're more, again, it's focus on features rather than what's actually going to move the needle.
And something we found really interesting with Sunlight, and when we was doing a lot of research, was that you guys want to be very involved in the manufacturing process and, doing all the tweaks yourself. Same with us. It took us 6 years to get our product to market. There's easier ways to do it, but it's